Hello and welcome to I Am My Hair. We're all about natural hair conversations with women and men from across the world, finding out what they love about their hair, some of the tips, tools and tricks that they're using to make their hair the way it is so that we can all learn from each other and embrace this journey that is our natural hair. Today we're doing things a little bit differently. It's wash day for me, and I thought we'd rehash a conversation that we had at the World Afro Day Fireside Chat. Because earlier today, I was speaking to someone about natural hair and they said to me, "Oh, I struggle to manage my hair." And I thought, okay, interesting. What kind of hair do you have? I asked, and they said, "What do you mean?" And then I realized, they don't know what kind of hair they have. And maybe that's you too. You don't know what type of hair you have. And I don't blame you because there's so much information out there. If you just do a certain type of hair, you'll get coily, straight, wavy, 4A, 4B, 4C, 3A, and all these different numbers. It can get quite confusing. And if you recall at the World Afro Day Fireside Chat, we spoke with Janine about knowing your hair. I believe that when you know your hair, it's almost like the start of the journey because you don't know what you don't know. And a lot of times we say, or you may be saying, "Oh, I can't manage my hair," but maybe it could be that you don't know your hair. And I can tell you that when I discovered my hair type, it really changed the game for me. At that fireside chat, Janine spoke about the 3 ways that you can find out about your hair. The first one was the density of your hair, which refers to how much hair do you really have on your head. For me, for example, I have quite a lot of hair. It's washed now and it's in treatments. I'm just about to continue with my regimen, but I have a lot of hair. So density is a good way to find out a bit about your hair. Do you have a lot of hair or do you have pretty sparse hair? It doesn't matter which spectrum are you on, but it's nice to know the kind of density that you have. And then you almost do an individual strand test. Now, I've already done it. My hair's wet and I'm not going to do it now, but it's just feeling your hair. So you'd almost take a strand of hair and almost be touching it in the opposite direction just to kind of feel the strand. Is the strand thin? Is it quite thick and strong? What kind of strand do you have? And I can tell you, because I've done that strand test quite a few times, that my hair is not only dense, but the strand is also quite strong. It's quite thick in its nature. And then the third thing that we spoke about, if you remember, was porosity. When I found out my hair's porosity, the game changed. In fact, of all those 3 ways of finding about your hair, I believe, and this is just me, I'm not a hair guru, I'm just saying it from my own experience, finding out your hair's porosity is the game changer. Because you can have kinky, coily, wavy hair, but it doesn't really say much about your type of hair. You can have 2A, 3B, 4C, that doesn't say much. I lived my whole life and I was told that, your hair here is 4B, but some of your hair is 4C. It didn't say much to me about what products I should use, what methods or regimens work best. But when I found out about the porosity, the game changed. Now, porosity is your hair's ability to absorb and retain moisture. This is quite important in our hair journeys, that we understand how does our hair absorb moisture, which is water or products that contain water, and how does it keep the water? Does it retain it? Does it absorb the water? Because it ultimately decides or determines the kinds of products we use and the regimens that work best for our hair. And the first thing is genetic. Part of it is stuff that we do ourselves. It's self-imposed and it does affect our porosity. So some of the things are chemical damage that we do to our hair. So chemical damage is the use of color, permanent color, or even chemical treatments or chemical relaxers or chemical straighteners. So if you've chemically relaxed or straightened it, or you love using colors, that could affect your porosity. And then there's also mechanical damage. The way we comb our hair, the over manipulation of our hair, using blow dryers, thermal products, not thermal products, but thermal tools like hair dryers and hair straighteners, those can also affect porosity. And so it's quite important to know which spectrum do I stand on, because we may have the same 4A or 4B or 2A or whatever number it is, or kinky coily, but our porosity may very likely be different. And so we're going to do a quick strand test, or we're going to do a test. I'll show you how it's done, and I recommend that you do the same so that you can find out about your hair. So what I did previously was I washed my hair, and I washed it not once but twice. The first time I did it just to remove all the build-up, because I last washed my hair just over a week ago, and then I washed it again to just remove all that build up for the second time, and just to make sure that my scalp was clean. So my hair was really nice and clean, and what I did before putting the deep treatment was I took a little bit tuft of hair. So you'll find that once your hair is washed and you've got your towel or your cotton whatever on your head there, and you almost pull like this, there is that hair that naturally comes out. It's natural. So I just took a little bit of that. You can do the same wherever you find the hair, whatever strands, you're almost just doing this and you're removing. You don't have to cut the hair from your head for this. Just remove a few strands of hair. And then I took a glass, or I have here a clear glass of water. It is room temperature water. Please don't make the water hot or warm or lukewarm. It should be room temperature. So try and put the cold setting on the tap. It's not water from the fridge either. And then I've taken this hair. Now this hair is clean, guys. It's important that you use hair that's clean. So you've got to wash your hair before you do this test. Don't do it when your hair is still pre-shampoo. I'm taking this hair that I've removed from my head, and I'm almost going to drop it into this water. But what I'm going to do is, you could leave it at the top, but I'm just going to take my finger and throw it in just to make sure that it's got the moisture, or it's got water in it. And then I'll leave it here for about 3 to 5 minutes. Let it absorb the water, or the moisture that is the water, and let's see what's going to happen. Now, one of 3 things is going to happen to these strands, or these strands of hair. It's either going to float on the top, it's going to sink to the bottom, or it's going to remain somewhere in the middle. Now, you can't change it, or you can't manipulate this thing in any way. The strand is in there. It's either going to go to the bottom, it's going to sink to the bottom, or it's going to float on the top, or it's going to remain somewhere in the middle. And depending on where it goes will determine the kind of hair that you have. This strands of hair sink to the bottom, then I have high porosity hair. And that means that my hair absorbs moisture quite easily because it's sunk to the bottom, but it doesn't retain moisture. You will find that people who use, or if you're someone who uses a lot of chemically treatments on your hair, so whether your hair is chemically relaxed or chemically straightened, or there's a lot of mechanical work that happens on your hair, so you're using a lot of heat in the form of either hair dryers or blow dryers, chemical straighteners, or your hair's been over manipulated, whether it's styling, protective styles, there's been a lot of manipulation over time, you will find that your hair may not necessarily be high porosity. The test will ultimately tell you whether it's high or not. If it sinks, it's definitely high porosity. But it doesn't mean that your hair is bad, by the way, if it's high porosity, but you want to know, how do I look after the hair that I have, or what kind of regimens, what kind of products work well for the hair that I have, because you want to be able to maintain the hair that you have. Moisture is obviously key for each of the hair types. So moisture, whether yours is high porosity, low porosity, or medium porosity. The first thing that you would want to do is, if you're looking to get it back to normal or to medium porosity, is you need to try and cut out the thermal styling. So the blow dryers and the chemical straighteners, they really make your hair good, but they damage the cuticle of your hair over time. So you want to, if you're looking at getting your hair to the normal porosity, is try and minimize your use of heat styling when you do your hair. And you'll find that when you've got high porosity, your hair is prone to a lot of split ends, or perhaps it breaks easily because of all the styling that you're doing. You want to invest in getting quite regular trims just to split those ends. And then for you, in terms of products, it will really need to be products that retain moisture, products that reduce the frizz. A lot of you would say, oh, my hair is quite frizzy. Likely you have high porosity hair. Products that seal in moisture. And when you do use the heat, whether it's a blow dryer or whether it's a flat iron or any kind of heat products, you need to use some kind of a heat protectant. Putting heat on it when you haven't put products, I've seen it before, the hair is just smoking from all the heat. You've got to just make sure that you put a heat protectant or a heat or something on the hair. Hair with high porosities, and now I've had to do some research because I know my hair type, but just for the sake of this video, is when you've got high porosity hair, you need to be using certain oils, certain butters, certain creams that are specifically for that hair type. And then our hair, all our hair has a natural protein in it, and it's called keratin. Now, I know there's something called keratin treatments or keratin or protein treatments. Our hair naturally has keratin or protein in it. And if you've got high porosity hair, your hair really struggles with the keratin or doesn't have high levels of keratin. So you want to be investing in protein treatments, whether it's the ones that you buy from the store or when you go for salon treatments. Keratin is a good product to use because it's good. It's good to give your hair strength, and it's good for hair that breaks quite often because high porosity hair is prone to breakage because of all this manipulation. And then masks that are hydrating and deep moisturizing. That becomes really, really important when you've got high porosity hair. So in summary, you want to be minimizing the heat. You want to use chemicals wisely, and that's not just chemical relaxers, but also colors. And then you need to be using products that are quite high in moisture. So stick to products that are high moisturizing products. I think this hair has been in for more than 3 to 5 minutes now, so we're going to check. Now, I want to tell you as a disclaimer that I've done this test many times before. I do know my hair's porosity, but I wanted you to see it for the sake of this video. And this hair has been in the water for quite some time. And you'll see, and I hope you're able to see it, that this hair is floating at the top. It's floating at the top, which means, and this is the second hair type, my hair is low porosity. High porosity hair absorbs moisture but doesn't retain it. Low porosity hair does not absorb moisture well, and it does not keep it. And when I found out that I was low porosity, I was laughing because I'll tell you about it in a bit. It doesn't mean that when you have low porosity, your hair is not healthy. Your hair is probably very healthy. You're just not moisturizing it correctly. And so it's prone to things like dryness, when in fact your hair is quite healthy. And it also tangles a lot because dry hair tends to tangle. It doesn't have moisture in between those strands. So that's just something that you and I, because I'm also low porosity, need to look at. And that's the truth. Oh, my hair gets so dry. And I remember growing up, my mother, I used to say, Mom, my hair's dry. And she used to say, bring the hair food there. And she used to put all this hair food on my hair, but it would still be dry. And when the style or the plaiting was removed, there were so many tangles and knots from probably all the dryness now that I know. But yes, low porosity hair, it doesn't mean that it's not healthy. It just means that we're not moisturizing our hair correctly. One of the things that I noticed, and this was growing up and especially now too, is when you've got low porosity hair, your hair is prone to product buildup. And the reason why that happens is your hair is not absorbing the products. It's not absorbing moisture. So what do? We put more products and more products and more products. And where's this product going? Because it's not absorbing into the hair, it's staying at the top. So a lot of times you'll find you'll do a style and your hair feels greasy, or you touch it and all the oils and all the butters and all the products you're using are on your hand, and you think, oh, but why is the product on my hand but my hair is dry? It's because you're prone to product buildup. The product's not going into the hair, it's staying at the top. And I remember, again, speaking about my mom, I would always say, but Mom, my hair's dry, bring the hair food. And she'd put more hair food and she'd put more hair food, but nothing used to happen. So that's because of the product buildup. One of the things I also noticed, and it's only of probably in the past 2 or 3 years, is that, low porosity hair takes so long to dry, my goodness. In fact, I noticed that when I used to go to work every day, is I would wash my hair on a Sunday for Monday so that my hair is fresh, Promise you, you wake up on Monday and your hair looks dry on the surface or the outer hair. Inside, especially here, because I'm quite high density with my hair, the hair is not dry. Your hair is prone to being, it doesn't dry very easily. Say, because it doesn't absorb moisture, so all that water is staying on the top and the hair doesn't dry. One of the things I also saw is now I don't color my hair a lot. I actually haven't colored my hair in many years. But even when I used to color my hair, or even before I became a natural, stuff like chemical relaxers and colors don't take easily on my hair. It doesn't catch. I don't know what the correct word is, but it doesn't catch, it doesn't hold. So I would have to use products that are a bit higher in terms of like super, or not the regular ones, the chemical straighteners, because the regular ones wouldn't work. And the colors, I would spend, if the product says 20 minutes, I would have to spend longer trying to get the color in, and still the color wouldn't catch. But that's because of the low porosity, and those things really, you really struggle to hold product. Because of the moisture, you're not absorbing moisture, so you're also not absorbing any product. What I found was the game changer for me, and it will be for you if you're also low porosity, is using heat when you putting in your deep conditioners. In fact, your whole wash day routine should have a little bit of heat in each of them. I promise you it's a game changer. Now, when I say heat, I'm not talking about water from the kettle. I'm not talking about tap being at the heat setting. I'm saying that when you're starting to wash your hair, for example, the water should be warm. Ideally not lukewarm, because lukewarm can be a bit tricky, and definitely not cold. I know my mom always says, hey, when you finish wash your hair, you must put a final rinse of cold water. Not for low porosity hair. You want product, or the product is activated and goes into your hair with heat. So whether that heat comes in the form of warm water, or when you're putting the deep conditioner, you're putting a shower cap to create heat, or you're using cling wrap to wrap it up to retain heat, or you're using a hooded hair dryer. There's even something in a salon you'd see called a steamer, a hair steamer, amazing for low porosity hair. So if you can treat yourself to steam when you go to the salon, why not? It's amazing. Heat is your best friend. Now, I'm also not talking about hair dryers and blow dryers and thermal straighteners, not that kind of heat. I'm talking about heat during your wash day. Try and incorporate some heat just to try and activate that product. And then your hair is prone to product buildup, like I said. And that's because the product's not going into your hair, and you're putting and it's all staying at the top. So the kinds to be using is clarifying shampoos that are going to remove that buildup, because the product's all sitting on the top. And that is why, even more reason why you need to be washing your hair not once but twice. In fact, any hair porosity needs to be, but for you, because you've got lots of product buildup, you need to be doing it twice, definitely twice. The first one is to remove the product buildup, and then the second one is almost to remove all the stuff that you removed. You know what I mean? Wash it twice. You'd see in a salon that they also do that. And then there's something called co-washes. So co-wash stands for conditioner wash. I've before, and I always found that when I used it, that my hair wasn't clean or didn't feel clean, because conditioner wash or co-wash is actually a conditioner that you just wash your hair with, and because you're prone to product buildup, it's not really going to do much for your hair in terms of cleaning it, in terms of making it giving it a bit more life. And so if you use conditioner washes, I don't use them anymore. I used to, I stopped, because I realized I'm wasting my money here. The product is not going into my hair, so I stopped using it. So that's something that you need to look at. And then oils, butters, and creams. I can talk about this for hours. I used to use heavy products. And since I found out about my porosity, I had to change from those heavy butters and oils and creams to the light one. To find out a bit more about the oils, you can always do a search on lightweight oils, especially oils for low porosity hair. You'll find a few like argan oil, sweet almond oil, grapeseed oil, avocado oil. Those tend to be really great oils for low porosity hair if you're into using oils. And then I spoke about the natural protein, the keratin. So for high porosity hair, where their hair doesn't have a lot of keratin and they need protein treatments, as low porosity, we have keratin in overload. And this is also another aha moment, because I used to use a lot of protein treatments on my hair, whether it's hair mayonnaise or the hair products that had high protein, that were written on them protein something. Woo! And I noticed one thing when I used hair mayonnaise, for example, and I'm not dissing you if you do, I'm just telling you about my journey, is when I used protein treatments, my hair used to feel really hard afterwards. And I thought, this is the product working. It ain't working, girl. It's making your hair hard because your hair already has keratin, because protein treatments have keratin. And you're adding more keratin and you're making that hair hard. And after hard comes brittle, and with brittle comes breakage. So low porosity, protein treatments or any products that have protein as one of the first 3 products are not for you. And the last thing I'm going to tell you is moisturize, moisturize, and moisturize. Now, what happens to us as low porosity is because our hair is prone to dryness, our hair doesn't absorb moisture. So whether you do a style today and next week you're like, oh, my hair is dry, perhaps every alternate day, look at moisturizing your hair. What is moisturizing? Maybe some water, spritz your hair with water, and then put the low lightweight butter that you're using. You don't have to put oil. I find if I put water, if I spray water and then I put a lightweight cream on it, it does help. But you need to be moisturizing your hair quite often. Look at maybe every second day or every third day, and depending on how your hair is feeling. But don't go the whole week. Don't do wash day and then only put moisturizer at the end of the week, because your hair is going to likely be dry. So moisture, moisture, and moisture. In fact, you just gave me an idea. Since I'm low porosity, what porosity are you, firstly, by the way? Are you high porosity? Are you low porosity? Or medium porosity? Let me know in the comment section so that we can educate each other on this. Look, I don't know a lot about high porosity, but I'm going to find someone who does have natural hair and has high porosity and just find out a bit about their regimen so that we can empower each other where that is concerned. But because I'm a low porosity, I'll tell you what, I'm going to shoot a video soon telling you about my hair regimen. Now, it's not going to necessarily be about the products that I'm using, the name of the products, but it might be the type of products, and I'll introduce you to some cool gadgets that I've added into my routine, which is outside of what we've spoken about, so that we can continue to empower each other about the hair regimen. And it will just be about low porosity. I'm going to find someone who's got low high porosity hair, and we're going to have a conversation with them about what they do with their hair. And then there's the medium porosity, or sometimes called normal. Their hair is utopia. It's an ideal world where their hair retains moisture where it also absorbs it. Janine is a medium porosity. You would have heard her saying it in the video. And it's an ideal state to be in. Your hair, you can do a little bit of everything, and it's not going to affect things too much. But with them as well, moisture is also quite important. And you heard Janine saying every so often during the day she'd put some leave-in or spritz some water and put some leave-in, because her hair takes moisture. Her hair gets dry and she moisturizes it quite often, but in terms of products, it's kind of open market for her. She doesn't have a lot of rules, or people with medium porosity don't have a lot of rules on what they can and cannot use. A lot of things do work, but again, you just need to see how your hair reacts to that product to see if it's something that will work for your hair or whether it will not. What porosity are you? Let me know in the comment section so that we can empower each other. Are you high porosity? Are you low porosity? Or are you somewhere in the middle? Let me know in the comment section. But I'm sure you're asking yourself, can my porosity change? Oh, yes, it can. Oh, yes, it can. Especially if you've got high porosity hair. A lot of the damage is probably chemical or mechanical. And if you do some of the things that we spoke about, you could change it over time. It's not going to happen overnight, though. Rome was not built in one day, and your porosity is not going to just become normal overnight. If you've got low porosity hair and you do some of the things that we've spoken about, you can also do a search. There's a lot of information out there. I just covered the tip of the iceberg. But if you do your research and you find out about the products that are out there, I'm sure you'll be able to incorporate some of those. You can start small, really. You don't have to do everything and overhaul your whole hair cupboard. Start with one thing, see how your hair reacts, then you put another, then you put another, and then you put another. So yes, your porosity can change, but it's not going to happen overnight. The best thing to do is to manage the hair type that you have, and you'll find that things like wash day and styling become easier because you know your type and you're using products and methods in line with your type. And so I hope you've learned a thing or two. This is just, again, a very basic video. I thought, why not hop on? What's your type? I am so interested to hear from you. And remember to subscribe to this channel, like, comment, and hit the bell notification so that you're notified immediately when I drop a new video. I'm going to continue with my wash day. I'll tell you about it in another video, but I will see you soon.